Mr. Scanlon here, and in this video we're going to be doing some stuff with Ionic, mostly focusing on this thing called range, which if you guys go to the Ionic framework docs and then CSS components and then just skip down to range here, you'll see this range stuff. So basically it's like a slider on the phone. You guys are probably really familiar with this, just like in iTunes or like any kind of music app or something like that. You're going to have something like playing out of this. We're not going to do audio just yet. We're going to just kind of check this thing out and see how this works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this item range thing here. So it's going to be this one right here. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go back into the Play Ionic website, and I'm going to get rid of this button and then paste in this range thing. So on the app, I can just kind of move it around. You can see it's kind of nice. I can do stuff with it. One thing I do want to do, so like basically what we're going to do for this like little lesson here is I'm going to have like a header right here, like a word right here, and then we're going to use this slider to change the color of it, okay? Now, one thing I want to do before that, which is also kind of helpful for you guys, is I'm going to change the icon. So it's not going to be the icon like volume things, like the speaker ones. It's going to be something else. And there's this thing called Ionicons. So if you guys go to Utility in the CSS components, and then you like open up this Ionicons website, you'll get this website. Basically, it's just a bunch of different icons you guys can use to build your apps with. So like, if you wanted some sort of new icon in there to use, you can use that. So I'm going to be doing colors. So naturally, actually, you know what? I was going to kind of screw around, but this one actually looks great. So you just click on it, and then you highlight the CSS class, jump back into Play Ionic, and then I think if you just get rid of this, yes. So if you just kind of replace, so keep icon and then ion, whatever it is, replace it with, and I'm going to paste it in right there. So I'm just going to have two of these. It's not going to be like a small one, bigger one, because colors are just kind of all over the place anyways. The next thing we're going to do is add in a header. So I'm going to go to header, no, what do I want here? Content, yes. So I can just probably just put an H1 in there. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to Play Ionic and just say H1. And in here I'll say my favorite word, noob, and that's fine right there. All right, so we got noob in here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that anytime I slide on here, it's going to change the color of noob. So one thing I'm going to do is, if you're on Chrome, you can do this. If you're on Safari, you can't. But I'm going to right-click on the screen, and I'm just going to click Inspect. And it's going to give me, it's going to give me this console over here, so I can see, like, if there's any errors popping up. It's just kind of helpful. And you'll kind of see what we're going to do in a second. So the first thing you want to do to edit this right here is go to the range, so the div, or sorry, not the range, the input on this range thing. So right here, input, type, range, name, volume. And then in here, just go ahead and type in ID of R, for range. And then inside the JavaScript, I'm going to say var range is equal to document dot get element by ID R, and then I think we can just do value, right? Yeah, something like that. Now right now, like, nothing's happening when I'm kind of clicking around here, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to add in this other thing called on change. So normally we're used to like on click, and if you click it, something happens. We're going to use something called on change, and what on change does is it basically means like anytime you change this attribute, it runs a function. So then we'll just call this function, log it or something like that. You can name it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it log it because we're going to log this to the console. So we're going to say function log it, parentheses function, console.log, and we can just copy and paste this guy actually right here. inside here. So if I start moving around, you can see on the right hand side here. So if I click down here closer, it's like 1. If I click here, it's 27, 46, 64, 80, all the way up to like 100. And basically what that's doing is it's showing wherever my point is ending up on this scale from like 1 to 100. I can actually, yeah, I can go to 0 too. So this is how we get the value of whatever we want this set at. Now, there's this thing called, which we haven't quite talked about. We talked about RGB, which is like red, green, blue colors, but we haven't talked about this other thing, which is called HSL, which I'll just kind of briefly go over. So HSL stands for, so RGB is red, green, blue. HSL is hue, saturation, lightness. So if you change like the hue on something, it'll change like to different colors, and then you're keeping the saturation and the lightness the same. So you get like all kinds of bright, vibrant colors if saturation is to 100 and lightness is about somewhere in the middle. So we're going to use this HSL thing. I can copy this, and I'll head over to here. And in here, I'm going to say, so we're console logging the value, and I'm going to go ahead and say we want to change. So here, on the noob, we want to say ID, and we can say ID of n for noob, and then we basically just want to say we want to make that noob, change colors. So we're going to say document.get element by ID, targeting the n, and I think it's style.color is equal to, and then whatever here you put in the color, I'm gonna paste in that HSL. So I want to keep the 100% standard, 50% standard, and I want to change this hue value to something else. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in some quotes here, some pluses, and then we're just going to put in the value. Okay. So we're kind of close to being done here. I think if I start, no, not quite working yet. Oh, sorry. If I copy and paste this in here, and then use range, not value. There we go. So now you can kind of see when I'm clicking around here, it goes from red to orange to kind of yellow, and then kind of into green, and then it stops. And we're missing, like half the color still, because it's supposed to have like a little bit more of a green, blue, then purple, and then back to red on this color timeline here. So what we got to do is we got to, so right now, if you look at the HSL, this is on a range of 0 at the bottom here, all the way to 360 degrees. So it's like a, like a circle, right? 360 degree pi or something like that. So we need to take our 100, so we're getting values from 0 to 100 here, and we need to make it so that that 100 goes from 0 to like 360. And basically the only thing we're going to do to that is we're just going to say range is equal to parse int, because we need a whole number, range multiplied by 3.6. So, if we put in 50, so if we're like right at 50 here, then what's going to happen is it's going to multiply 50 by 3.6, which I believe is 180, and then it's just going to make sure it's an integer, so it's not like 180.5 or something, and then it's going to pop it right in here. Okay, so now when I start clicking around, red, orange, that's kind of like yellow, that's green, that's blue, that's like a dark blue, that's purple, that's kind of back to red. So now we have like the full color wheel working for us. So that's how you change the color of a text using a range in this video, and then you guys also learned how to use these icons. And if you wanted to put more icons, then you could. Like if I wanted, let's go with, there's a lot of cool ones here. Let's go with this coffee. So if I wanted the coffee, no, I'm going to go with ice cream actually. If I wanted this ice cream to be up here next to awesome app, I could go ahead and do that. I could just say like span, I think it's class, or no, they want I, sorry. So don't use span. Span's for Bootstrap. They want I, and then I could say class is equal to, paste that in there, and now I get like an ice cream cone right next to awesome app, so something like that. All right, that's it for this video. I'm going to make another video that's just like this one. It kind of does the same thing, but I don't want this to run too long. So see you then.